Wait, you're a Bears fan and you're not subscribed to my channel? Before this video starts, make sure to 1. Hit the subscribe button below to catch all Bears content right here on this podcast. 2. Hit the bell notification because you, my friend, are a diehard Bears fan. And 3. Like this video and tell all the Bears fans you know about the channel. Alright, that's better. Now that you're actually subscribed to the channel, make sure to bear down and enjoy this video.
Now this is a podcast all about Bears. You either cheering for this team or just pulling your hair. I like to take a minute, just sit right back and tell you how I became the #1 Bears fan.
That boy is Benny Hunter.
Cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic. People, this the intro. Sacramento, California, born and raised. And Antelope is where I spend most of my days. You talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down.
So, Bears fans, I can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel, as it seems like the Bears are getting even closer to finding out who their next head coach will be and who their next GM will be. As of today, the Bears are set to meet for the second time with the Chiefs Executive Director of Player Personnel, Ryan Poles, as they're already scheduled him for the second interview, which makes him a finalist for our open GM position. Here's the thing that's crazy about Ryan Poles is that his first interview was on Friday. The very next day, the Bears requested to meet with him for the second time for our open GM position, which was set for Tuesday. NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero adds that the Bears will get to interview Poles on Tuesday, one day before the Vikings, as Poles is also a finalist for the Vikings GM job. And I would also like to add that he was also a finalist for the New York Giants job as well. So obviously, Ryan Poles is a hot commodity in this GM cycle for a lot of GM needy teams. So let's take a look at Ryan Poles' background. He's 36 years old, so he's a nice and young GM. I've been hearing a lot of Bears fans comment saying they don't really like how young he is because apparently, obviously, Ryan Pace was a pretty young GM when we first hired him. So that's kind of scaring a lot of Bears fans. His whole career has been with the Kansas City Chiefs. Starting in 2009, he was player personnel assistant. Then from 2010 to 2016, he was college scouting administrator. In 2017, he was the director of college scouting. And from 2018 to 2020, he was assistant director of player personnel. From 2021 to present, he has been the executive director of player personnel. So when you look at Ryan Poles' background, his whole career has been with Kansas City, and he has a lot of experience in terms of scouting, player personnel. So he's seen all of it. And for his age at 36, to me, that is pretty impressive. Here is the analysis that someone actually wrote about Ryan Poles. Poles has been a rising star among the Chiefs organization, where he's survived 3 different GM regimens and continued to climb the ranks within the organization. Poles has extensive scouting experience where he's overseen all aspects of scouting players, helps with free agency preparation, and assists GM Brett Veach with the NFL draft. Poles has been with Kansas City for his entire NFL career, which spans 13 seasons. He's seen how a successful NFL franchise operates, which is something the Bears would like to replicate. The Chiefs have won at least 10 games in each of the last 6 seasons, which also includes 2 AFC championships and a Super Bowl. Given Poles' scouting background, it's worth noting he was part of the success Kansas City has had in the NFL draft. He has an eye for talent that would be vital to an organization. There's also the Chicago connection, as Poles signed as an undrafted free agent with the Bears in 2008. So, like I said, he has extensive scouting experience. He has been a huge part of the players that they've actually brought in for the last 13 years or so. So, some of the players that he has been a part of drafting is Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Justin Houston, Eric Fisher, Chris Jones, Tyreek Hill, Don Poe, and Eric Berry. So, obviously, he has an eye for talent, and most of those picks that he ends up having a part of have worked out. So obviously the Kansas City Chiefs are a well-run organization, and he has been a part of that success for the last 13 years. So obviously I haven't talked too much about the GM options or who I liked, because sometimes it can be tricky. Along with head coach, you never know with these GM candidates. Obviously for Ryan Poles, he has the extensive experience. And most like all these candidates, most of them have some experience in scouting. but I really like what I see from Ryan Poles. So something that I want to add, and this was Poles on finding leaders among scouted players. This is what he had to say about it. We see these guys on TV as athletes every week, but they're around each other all the time, too. So the locker room has to be good. If you don't have a strong locker room, if you don't keep everyone on the same page, and if you don't have the leaders to keep the focus forward, you'll lose it. That's what Ryan Poles had to say about finding leaders among the scouted players. So I'm not sure how you guys are feeling about Ryan Poles, and obviously, like I mentioned, I haven't talked extensively about the GM candidates yet. I may do a video talking about my top GM candidates, but overall, I think I would be fine with Ryan Poles as Chicago Bears next GM. I love the experience. I love the players and the talent that he's been able to find, and I love how he has been able to stick through three different GMs and still has been able to climb the ranks within the Kansas City Chiefs organization. It's also something to note that not only was he a finalist for the Carolina Panthers GM job last year, he has been a finalist for the New York Giants GM job this year, and now he's also a finalist for not only the Chicago Bears, but also the Minnesota Vikings GM vacancies. So that tells you something about how impressed these guys are and what Ryan Poles has been able to do. So we'll see what happens. This should be the first of many second interviews and the first of many finalists that the Chicago Bears will have, not only for their head coach, but for their GM openings. But it's looking like there's finally that light at the end of the tunnel, and we should be getting the new GM very, very soon. So how do you guys feel about Ryan Poles? Would you like him as your next GM for the Chicago Bears, or would you like someone else as the next GM for the Chicago Bears? Let me know down below in the comment section. Before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content around the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media channels, and make sure you share this episode of Kick on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, I'll be back for an all new Bears podcast right here on Kick on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick